Okay, think we're good. Tekking 90s tumble! Yeah! It's the added flannel that really truly gives it the oomph for that particular tumble. Although, I didn't really rock the flannel back in the 90s. I was, more of the blonde look back then. I think this is me. I'm not 100% sure. I know I had blonde hair back then, but I don't remember this photo being taken, so I don't know. I kind of look like a girl in this, but whatever. I mean, close enough, right? Alright, so, Happy New Year's Eve, everybody! Hope you're gonna have a good one. Tonight, I'm gonna be doing a live stream on the channel, bringing in the new year, but I thought about it, kind of, seriously this morning. I sat myself down over my breakfast, and I was like, Matt, what do you want your last video of 2018 to be about? I don't know, I was just probably gonna talk about Nami's boobs for like the 17th time. It's like, you can totally do that, and by Eneru help me, I almost did, but then I decided, I did a video about Nami's importance in the series, and I did a video about Usopp's importance in the series. So you know who has to be next. Our Lord and Savior! Our Messiah! BUGGY Senpai! Yes, that is truly beautiful. Oh, our benefactor! Thank you, Lord! Okay, so, BUGGY. I think we all love BUGGY, BUGGY, maybe at the beginning of the series, like, man, what was your first impression of BUGGY, okay? Because going back to the 4Kids dub, because that's what I started with, for better or for worse, that's how I got introduced to the East Blue Saga, so that set the precedent for me. I didn't think BUGGY was all that great. I didn't think he was a great villain. I even at that age, when I was like 12 years old watching the 4Kids dub, I pretty much saw it right away, like, okay, it's the beginning of the series. Pretty much the first few villains of a series are just there to kind of show what the main characters are capable of, because it was like, okay, Luffy beat the crap out of Morgan. Well, actually, no, it was Zoro that actually defeated Morgan, not Luffy. So it's like, we get to Orange Town, it's like, okay, this is where we're really gonna get to see Luffy shine. They did this weird thing with BUGGY in the 4Kids dub also. They added this weird, like, reverb to his voice. Like, whenever BUGGY got really mad, his voice had, like a distortion or an echo to it, kind of like, Straw Hat, what are you doing? Something like that. But they didn't always use it. They only used it when he got really mad. I think it's because he had the ability to break apart his body, so it's like he's separating his vocal cords or something. I don't know why they did it, but it was an interesting choice. But yeah, what was your first impression of the man, the myth, the legend, alright? Because I think most people just viewed him as comic relief, villain, really low-ranking pirate. Keep in mind, even though we knew about his history with Shanks, because that's revealed pretty early on that he used to be on the same ship as Shanks, we didn't really know the significance of that in the greater picture yet, because we didn't know about the Yonko, we didn't know Shanks was a Yonko, and we didn't know the crew that they were on was in fact the King of the Pirates crew. We knew nothing like that. This was like chapter 10 of One Piece at this point. So, more than anything, it was just an interesting little trivia fact. Like, oh, him and Shanks were on the same crew together. Alright, that's interesting. He's still lame, right? He's just a low-ranking pirate, not a big deal. Clearly, Shanks is more impressive than him, but we didn't know how impressive. But then later in the story, well, first off, we have Loguetown, when BUGGY came back there for his revenge against the Straw Hat. And, hey, let's all just completely aside, Loguetown was BUGGY at his most threatening and his most badass. He was this close, figuratively and very literally, to capping off Luffy for good. He was this close to it, alright? His plan was actually pretty damn good. He's like, I know that the Straw Hats are going to arrive at Loguetown before they go to the Grand Line. Let's set up base there, and let's set up an ambush, and let's grab them and separate them, and let's get the freaking rubber bastard up on the scaffolding, and I'll take this giant cutlass, and like, who's a clown now, Luffy? Yeah! Like, it was a good plan. I mean, you can't blame BUGGY for not anticipating the fact that the leader of the damn Revolutionary Army, who literally has the power to channel the powers of nature itself, you couldn't have expected him to be there, right? So Dragon saves Luffy, but BUGGY was this close. He was like a centimeter away of just, off with his heads. Luffy couldn't do anything. He was, blocked in with the gallows. He's like, I can't move right now. Zoro and Sanji were in the town square. They couldn't do anything. Sanji didn't know Skywalk at this point. Zoro wasn't up to the level where he could just like now if this happens, Zoro could just like draw one sword and slice the entire town in half and the scaffolding would fall. Couldn't do that back then, so they couldn't help. Everybody else was being held by the other members of the Buggy Pirates over at the ship. So Luffy was like, "Okay, guys, well, it's been fun. Not as long as I thought it would be, but, I guess I'm dead later." And he goes out with a smile, but then Dragon saves him. But hey, gotta give it to Buggy. That was when he was the most threatening. After that, of course, Oda, scales it back, makes it more just the comic relief. We got more important villains to focus on. We got Baroque Works, we got Eneru, we got the CP9, so Buggy just kind of takes a back seat. He shows up every now and then, Now, he still shows up every now and then, like right after Alabasta, you had Ace on his ship, munching on the grand feast that he was having on the big top, and they get to kind of like be friends a little bit. They have a pint together, and they're like, "Oh, you're not such a bad guy," glug, 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 before Ace just skips out on everybody. And hey, he even has his moments of wisdom. And those are the seeds, I think, of how important the character is going to become that Oda begins to sow. Because when you're gonna have a comic relief character, and I know Buggy is a clown, so quite literally, he's like, "Hey everybody, I'm Buggy the dancing clown! Doot 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 doot. You have a pretty big nose." Like, what did you just say, you little brat? Yeah, he's a clown. He's also, a comic relief in other ways. He just has really over-the-top kind of reactions, and comedy just seems to find him. They do it a lot more in the anime. Like, there was that scene in Impel Down where Buggy was running away from a blue gory, and for some reason in Impel Down, there was like a red, danger button right on the wall. Like a skull and crossbone, big red cartoonish, do not press this kind of button. And Buggy looks at it and he's like, "What idiot would press that thing?" And then he turns around and the blue gory's right there and he's like, "Ook." Ah! Click. Oh no. And I think it activated a trap or something like that. So they build it up a little bit more in the anime. But I think with any author, anytime that you're going to have a comic relief in a very long-running series like One Piece or any television show, any comic strip, you're eventually going to get to the point where it's like, let's do something more with this character. Yeah, they might have started off as just a joke, just comic relief, but do I really want to keep them like that the entire run, or do I want to do something different with them? Perhaps Oda, now Oda clearly had some idea for what Buggy was going to be earlier on because he had the whole connection with Shanks and everything and Goldie Roger. He had all that stuff set up very early on, but it's like, we're going to do something big with him eventually, right? And like I said, it's like those seeds begin to sow that maybe, hey, he's a little bit smarter than we're giving credit for. Like when Ace was on the big top, and I think after he fell asleep, because Ace has the touch of the narcolepsy, he falls asleep on the ship, and all of the members of the Buggy Pirates are like, "Hey, Captain, why don't we bring him in? This is Fire Fist Ace here. If we bring him into the Marines, we're gonna get a huge, 550 million berries. It's great, right?" Even though pirates can't turn into other pirates, but you see where the intention was. Like, this is a big fish that's just asleep right now on our ship. And Buggy was like, "Nope, we're not doing that." And Ace wakes up and he leaves. And then later he tells his crew, he's like, "Men, if you're going to listen to only one thing I ever say, listen to this. You do not mess with the Whitebeard pirates. Ever." And that was a moment of, well, that's good advice. That's good advice, no matter how you dice it, right? But it's like, Buggy grew up on Roger's ship with Shanks. They dealt with the Whitebeard crew constantly. Buggy probably saw a lot of his friends die right in front of him as he was a teenager growing up on the ship. He probably saw things that would really mess a dude up, all right? The fact that he managed to get this far is actually quite impressive in my book. He's not a Yonko, but, well, he's pretty close to one, But yeah, he's like, guys, I know I'm kind of a clown. I look kind of goofy, but I've been places. I've seen things. listen to me when I'm dropping some worldly advice on you. Don't mess with the Whitebeard crew. We have to find Captain John's treasure, and do not make fun of my nose. That's the worldly advice from Captain Buggy. So eventually they try to find Captain John's treasure, which is like a well-known pirate in the world, and they're like looking around in all these random caves in the Grand Line. They eventually stumble upon a marine outpost that was in such a cave. I believe Bogart was heading it up. Bogart, okay, this is a marine that I would love Oda to expand on more. Bogart is apparently like the assistant of Garp, and he's dressed like, you know, Humphrey Bogart from Casablanca. So he's got the, you know, the cool 1920s, like the trench coat, like the duster and the hat and everything, and he uses a sword to fight. I don't think Humphrey Bogart used a katana, but you know what? Close enough, right? He's like smoking and shit. And so he's related to Garp. He's like an assistant, and he also helped train Kobe and Helmeppo, but we don't know anything about him other than how he looks and what his name is, and that's all we know. So I think Bogart was the one that, you know, he was like, okay, let's go over the battle plans here, and then Buggy and the crew just kind of walk into the cave and like, this isn't the 5th annual Pirates Convention. This is a marine outpost. Oh, Kabaji. Hey, guys, don't worry about us. We're just gonna be... They turn around and the Marines are just there, like, with guns, like... Ah, crap. And so, the Buggy Pirates mostly manage to get away, but Buggy himself gets captured and gets thrown in level 1 Impel down. And so, it's not until, and this happens, like, I think somewhere around Skypiea, Eni's Lobby, somewhere around this part of the story is when he gets captured. It isn't until Impel down that he reappears, right? And this is where the beauty of Buggy really shines. Oda had a field day with him in this arc. Alright? We get character development from Buggy, we get, you know, the beginnings of like how he's going to become a warlord, you know, how other people start to see him just through happen chance, because you start to see the inherent comedy from Buggy doesn't just come from his over-the-top reactions or the fact he's a clown. The comedy comes from all of these ridiculous situations he finds himself in, and he doesn't succumb to them. Rather, he plays them in his favor just out of sheer luck. Like, this is certainly a character that Oda has, like, a little bit of plot protection for, because Buggy should have died, like, 35,000 times in Impel Down. Like, there's not even an excuse for that. So, it's like, yeah, Oda has it, but it's funny, and it works for the character. You know, it's just like, yeah, he's there, and all this crazy stuff's happening. You know, let's have him free all these prisoners, and let's have the prisoners, these hardened pirates who are honestly way more threatening than Buggy, let's have them all view him as their literal savior, their messiah. And think of all the funny stuff we could do with that. And they play it up in the anime. They have, like, Buggy, like parting the seas like Moses at one point, and when he's, like, back-talking Shanks at Marineford, which is probably my single favorite moment of all of Buggy. Right next, of course, to the Buggy car, which he busts out in Loguetown. How come he doesn't use this anymore? Buggy car, 2019. Bring it back, Oda. I don't even care if it makes any sense. Like, they're in the middle of fighting the Beast Pirates in Wano. Like, they're in the middle of the wastelands of Curry. Everyone's brawling against X-Drake and Page 1. And then all of a sudden, Buggy just... Vroom, 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 vroom. Everyone stops what they're doing and was just like... And then they get back to fighting. Like, that was just a random distraction. Oda just drew it for no reason. Like, bring back the Buggy car. But yeah, my favorite scene is when he's back talking Shanks at Marineford and all of his subordinates are just like, oh, even the Yonko do not escape his sass mouth. He is truly our messiah! Buggy senpai, we love you! And so they're all like little cherubs come out and they hold him, and Buggy is in like this immaculate, like he's like a Greek god to these prisoners. And it's just, it's funny, you know? It's really funny. Like, he seriously should have died multiple times during the war. But it works, it really does. The scene where all the visual Den Mushis go down because Sengoku didn't want the world to see what was about to happen. He's like, alright, we're gonna kill all the feed, make it look like, oh, it was an accident, and then we're gonna pull out all the stops and wipe out the Whitebeard crew. Even if we have to play a little bit of underhanded tactics, that's fine. We just can't let the world see that, because the Marines are supposed to be like, we uphold the justice at all causes, you know. It wouldn't be very nice for the people of the world to see the Marines resorting to some underhanded tactics and stuff. So it's like, cut the feed, cut the feed. But then Buggy is the one person that finds the one working visual Den Mushi and turns it back on, and the whole world is like, oh, the connection went dead, what's happening there? And then all of a sudden, bunko! And then it's just Buggy like, hey guys, what's going on? And like, okay, this is new. Could you move out of the way, Clown Man? We want to see what's going on at Marineford. But you know, that's really important. You know why? Because it's because of that, because of what Buggy did, that the world saw everything that involved Whitebeard and Blackbeard and Ace's death and Whitebeard's death and Blackbeard gaining the powers of these fruits. You know, that the world went into turmoil partly because of Buggy. I mean, the world would have went into turmoil other ways, but it's different from, like, you know, it happening and nobody seeing what's going on, and the Marines have to release, like, a press release afterwards, like, how did the war at Marineford go? The feed cut out, we didn't know what happened. To be like, oh, that, yeah, well, Blackbeard showed up. Oh, wasn't he on your side? Yeah, about that. After the events at Marineford, they decide to recruit him into the Warlords because they found out everything, because the world government just didn't know. I guess somebody forgot to file some papers at some point. Somebody didn't do a background check. Same thing with Ace. They didn't know who Ace's father was until like the 11th hour. Same thing with Buggy. When they're en route from Impel down to Marineford, the Marines just assumed that the masterminds behind the whole Impel down breakout were Luffy and Buggy, because it's like, yeah, Luffy is this famous pirate. He's been making waves. But then Buggy, you know, we're interested in you. So we started digging around, and I don't know how it escaped us, but yeah, you're a former crewmate of Goldie Roger, and you have connections to the Yonko, red-haired Shanks. Yeah, you're a big fish. We don't know how you managed to stay under the radar for so long, clown. You must be one smart son bitch, but we're on to you now. We're the Marines. And Buggy's like, oh, crap. But it ended up working in his favor because he ended up becoming a member of the Seven Warlords. Now, with the recent developments that are happening in One Piece, it's looking like the Warlord system might not be around for very much longer, and Buggy might be getting the boot off stage. Now, here's the thing with that. That's obviously not going to be a good thing for him. Like, the other Warlords, like Mihawk should be fine. Kuma's already a part of the world government in the Tenryubito because he's a cyborg now. He's an unthinking machine, basically. So, he'll stay the way he is. Hancock, that might be a little tough. You know, she might have to defend her island, or her tribe might have to leave somewhere else. But when it comes to Buggy, he's really in hot water because he really doesn't have any power. Like, he even just all bluster and bravado. Even the island he's on, his home base is Kalibali Island, which is like false bravado island. And the whole thing he does, he separates his body with his devil fruit and then connects it to a giant tarp to make himself seem huge and like lordly. Like, I am your king! Go forth, my pirate dispatch society! You know, and bring back all of the treasure. You know, and so he seems to like be living on cloud 9 right now. Like, everything in his life is finally paying off. He's got a sick island. It's all his. He could do whatever he wants. He's the king of all these other pirates that are admittedly way stronger than him. He has all the money, all the food, all the babes he could ever ask for. And that's probably all gonna just go away. Now, when I brought this up in my other video where I was talking about the fall of the Warlord system, a lot of people threw out, hey, maybe Mihawk is going to go and join up with Shanks' crew. And I didn't really, I mean, that's possible, but I thought, you know, Mihawk is strong enough on his own. If the Warlord system demolishes, Mihawk is probably, I don't think they're going to go immediately after his island, but even if they did, you know, Mihawk, you know, it would be a run for their money. And also, if he wanted to, he could just get in his coffin ship and just sail away. You know, I don't think Mihawk's going to have too many problems, you know, dealing with the Marines as a wanted pirate, you know. However, Buggy, though, he already has connections to Shanks. I think that makes way more sense for Buggy to go crawling to Shanks as like a backup plan. He even brings this up at Marineford when everything is going down and the war is ending and Shanks is there. Buggy is like, oh, wait, whoa, hold on a second. Shanks is like a certified badass amongst badasses. You know, maybe if I, you know, you cozy up to him like, hey, how you doing, old shipmate? Yeah, that was crazy what just happened there. Hey, you need some company? Hey, I could do some great party tricks. You know, he was thinking about the possibility of teaming up with Shanks just to get out of Marineford safely. And then everything else happened and, you know, they managed to get away on their own. But it's like, hey, Actually, do we know how Buggy got away from Marineford? Thinking about it now, maybe he did. Maybe he did cozy up to Shanks, because we know he wasn't with Luffy's group, because Luffy and Jinbei, they got out of there on the Law's, submarine, and then Hancock and Ivankov and everybody picked them up later. But when it came to like Crocodile and Mr. One, they kind of left on their own fruition, and Buggy ended up on some random island where he ended up getting the carrier bat from the government telling him he's going to be a warlord, but or he's invited to be the warlord. But we don't know exactly how he escaped from Marineford, so maybe Shanks did help him out. That would be cool. I don't see any reason why Shanks wouldn't. Shanks is like, he seemed to really like Buggy. He's like, oh, hey, Buggy, how you doing? And they have that back and forth, like, hey, I'll give you a treasure map if you give this straw hat to Luffy. And Buggy does it, and he's like, you lied to me, you red-haired bear, how dare you, brr, brr, brr. But then Shanks is like, yeah, I lied to you, but hey, it's good to see you, Buggy. How you doing, old friend? So they're still on. Buggy doesn't like him very much, but Shanks is still cool with him. So if Buggy would have went up to Shanks and be like, hey, how you... Okay, can we have a ride? Sure, man. Come on, let's go. I'll take you to the nearest island. I'm like, come on, everybody, come on, men, we're hitching a ride with a Yonko. Buggy Senpai bossing around Yonkos. Oh, they're glorious. That probably only heightened his status, really. And you can imagine the entire way there, Shanks and Buggy were just, like, bickering back and forth, right? So anyway, but if the warlord status gets taken away from him, I could see Buggy being like, Okay, it'll be okay. I'm in the new world, I'm not a warlord anymore, and all of the pirates that were working under me, the strongest ones, like Hyrudine and everybody, they're all gone. Okay, so he might go and join up the Yonko, and I don't see any reason why Shanks would reject him. I mean, Shanks isn't an idiot. He would know why he was doing it. I mean, he would know, like, okay, the warlord system collapses and you immediately come running to me. But at the same time, Shanks I don't think he would want to see his former crewmate die a horrible bloody death in the new world, which is what would happen to Buggy. He's like all alone in the new world, like scared, like, I don't know what's going on. There's lightning everywhere, Yonko are everywhere. So I could see that. I could see Buggy teaming up with Shanks, and I think this could lead to Buggy's shining moment in the entire story. Now, this is not something that is, like, original. If Oda chooses to do this, I'm not saying it would necessarily be weakened, but it has been done before, and let me tell you what it is. It's the comic relief character, the character that you love, he's kind of endearing, but not really all that strong. That character ends up having a moment of great self-sacrifice. And he gives his life on to others, and it's like, wow, that character was such a lovable comic relief, but now he's actually doing something to save the main characters. Man, forever in our hearts, Captain Buggy. That might be something like Oda's setting up for. Like, Buggy goes and teams up with Shanks, and then maybe, like, hey, maybe it's like the final battle at Raftel, the Throne Wars. The One Piece is discovered, all the Yonko are present, Shanks is there, and by extension, Buggy is there, and something crazy's going on, and something happens where it's like somebody has to jump into the death portal or something in order to, like, sacrifice themselves or hold them back or something. Or maybe it's something like Shanks is trying to assist the Straw Hats there. Like, all like Kaido's crew and Big Mom's crew and Blackbeard's crew, they're all there attacking the Straw Hats, and Shanks is like, I'll open up a path for you and I'll hold them back. You guys need to go. And the Straw Hats go. And then Buggy goes up to Shanks and he's like, Shanks, I'm tired of you always, getting the spotlight everywhere. Everyone always talked about you as, like, you're the famous child, you're the prodigy pirate. I was always just, like, this random cabin boy. But you know what? Not anymore. Not anymore, you ginger prick. I'm gonna be the one to hold him off. And then Buggy, all of his subordinates, and, like, the Buggy crew, like Kabaji and Moji, they're all crying, and Alvida's like, I guess he did have balls after all. Not just on his nose, he had real balls this whole time. And all the other members of his crew that probably still stuck with him, because they view him like a Christ figure. They're not just going to abandon him out of nowhere. Maybe some of them might, but not all of them. Be like, Captain Buggy, we love you, we'll stand together. And then it's like Buggy's last stand on Raftel, and he breaks out his sword and he separates his body. He's like, okay, men, let's hold them off as long as possible. And Buggy charges against, like, Blackbeard's darkness or something. And it's this really epic moment. And Buggy gives his life so the Straw Hats can continue on, or he has this big epic moment. I'm not saying it would be like, we didn't see that coming, because it does happen quite a bit in storytelling. But, man, that I think it would work for him. I think it would work. You know, Buggy, because where else, if you don't see that going down, if you don't see this big thing for Buggy, like, sacrificing himself, where do you see Buggy at the end of the story, you know? People have also thrown out maybe Shanks might, hey, you know what? Might be both of them together. Shanks and Buggy at the very end of it all, like, you know what? Let's do it, partner. Teaming up one last time, just like in the old days. Bring it on, Blackbeard! It would be beautiful. That would be absolutely beautiful to see, right? But yeah, so if we're just going to bring this all back around to what is the importance of Buggy, I think it's really just importance from just, like, the way you set up a comic relief character and the proper way to do it. Yes, you can make them a joke the entire series, just running gag after running gag after running gag, or you could do something with him. And I think from the very beginning, Oda had it planned. He was going to do something bigger with Buggy than what he led on to be. And from the way this is going right now, I'm looking forward to the next time we're going to see him. Oda certainly doesn't overuse Buggy, but every time we do see him, it's always a nice refresher. So we're definitely going to see him someday. And you know what? I was also thinking about this. Just food for thought. I might be way off the mark on this, but just bear with me. We don't know the circumstances for how Buggy ended up on with Shanks on Roger's crew. You know, we don't know the circumstances behind that. It might be Buggy never wanted to be a pirate. He might have accidentally found himself on Roger's crew, maybe a similar way to Kobe. Because Buggy is a very scared kind of dude. It seems unusual he would want to go out to sea. Maybe just because of a lust for treasure. Maybe that was the reason. But maybe he didn't just be a treasure hunter. He didn't want to be a real pirate. But maybe it's, you know, getting to know Shanks and seeing how strong Shanks is. He's like the child prodigy and everything. Maybe he had this disdain and this jealousy for Shanks where he's like, I'm going to be a better pirate than him. And so he ended up being a pirate, but at the end of the day, it's not really what he truly wanted to be. Maybe he really did, at the end of the day, just wanted to be an entertainer. And he is. To us. So anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. Had a great day. Had a great year. You know, 2018 pretty damn awesome, so hopefully 2019 is even better. Hopefully I'll get a halfway decent haircut, but I don't know if that'll happen or not. Yeah, doing the stream tonight. It'll be 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll probably put up a notification on the channel like a few hours beforehand. So, yeah, if you can make it, see you there. Tekking, signing out. Have a good one, everybody.